With great sadness and regrets that we announce the passing of Tshidi Madia, EWN's Associate Editor, Politics. Tidi passed away in hospital this morning after a short illness. Tidi was the jewel in EWN's crown. She was a powerhouse. She was brave. She was the consummate professional who worked tirelessly in pursuit of the truth. She led by example, mentoring and training many young political journalists. She formed a formidable politics team, which she was so proud of, and delivered one exclusive after the next with absolute humility and professionalism. She constantly raised the bar for herself, juggling reporting and her editor responsibilities daily. Laughter and robust debate would always surround Tidi. Outside of her public persona, Tidi was fiercely loyal to her family and friends. Her no-holds-barred approach seeped into every aspect of her life. She worked hard and loved even harder. The sun shines differently without you today, Matsuriso. Our thoughts, prayers, and support are with Tidi's father, her siblings, her nephews and nieces, aunts and uncles, cousins, and broader family.
Nisa, thank you for that, and obviously immensely difficult for all of us, but particularly difficult for you and the EWN team. I'll have my own thoughts about Tidi, because from time to time she would be on this show as she was on others, but she was right in the engine room, part of the heartbeat of EWN. So thank you for sharing that with us, painful as it was. I'm already seeing some of my listeners, our listeners, weighing in with their thoughts, and I'll share those tributes with the rest of the 702 family as we go along. But Mzotolo, you've known Tidi a long time. You would have had an overview, as in the various roles you've played, of her contribution, but let's give it to you for your thoughts.
Thanks, John. This is indeed a sad day at Primedia Broadcasting. It's a sad day as the Primedia family. It's a sad day for EWN, and my condolences go out to Tidi's family, to her colleagues in the newsroom. Nisa, I know this is very, very close to you and the rest of your team. John, we saddened. We are bleeding. Today is a difficult day for all of us at Primedia.
Yeah. And it's interesting, the responses are immediate, and sometimes fewer words say as much as many. And the first message we got, thank you, Mike, for this. Tidi, I'm stunned. And then 3 words, she was fabulous, which I think is as good a way of putting it as any.
That's correct, John. I mean, you had Nisa just reflect on the powerhouse that she was.
Yes.
You know, my personal memory of Tidi was just always her mischievous laughter. She had this laughter, and she had this, she had this commentary, tongue-in-cheek. She'd always tease, me in the corridors, tease people on the corridors, but she was just a ball of energy. And, today our hearts are in great sorrow, but we will do right by our dear sister. Tidi was loved by many, many people across here at Primedia as a family, on EWN, but beyond our own business, as it were. She was a respected political journalist. She traveled the world. I think South Africa has lost a great journalist in Tshidi Madia, and we're just deeply saddened by that.
I think we've also lost a really great South African, because what really struck me, and I'll when there are gaps, but I'll seize one now, just throw in some of my own thoughts. But the way Tshidi spoke about politics was in a way that said, I care deeply. But she never cared so deeply that she lost her ability to judge what it is she was required to analyze. And I think that was a most extraordinary quality that she brought. But what was never missing was how much she loved, A, what the country was trying to do, and B, how determined she was that we should all get the best out of the place and the country where we live. Nisa, you wanted to come in.
And that love was relentless. that commitment was relentless. Many years ago, I heard Tidi's voice in a press conference. And I heard the question, and immediately I said to my colleagues, I was like, who is this person? I am so privileged to have been flanked by her. She and I would spend many a night discussing a range of things. And words fail one other than to say she embodied magic.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever too much. She would raise those benchmarks. She would trust us, her colleagues, to have her back. I would watch State of the Nation broadcasts, and at the point that Tidi came on air, I would see those numbers rise.
Yes.
I remember at the Union Buildings for the inauguration, this was soon after the Jacob Zuma interview, I was sitting on the bus and Tidi was across from me, and these two people were discussing the interview, not knowing that she was sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please carry on. So just a thought. I mean, we measure, one of the ways in which we measure contribution is obviously output, what goes on air and in the public space. Nisa's spoken about a colleague, but also part of an engine room. The other contribution is the influence you as a senior and highly productive person, because that was the other thing about Tshidi. I just thought, well, I'm on a 24-hour clock, but someone seems to have given you another 4 hours. Politricking, for example, was an extraordinary piece of political work. And as we grieve, that archive will really represent an amazing legacy. But her influence on younger journalists, you would have kept a close eye on that. Zor, give us your thoughts on that.
No, John, I mean, you're 100% right. That repository of work she's done with politricking was going to be her lasting legacy, and all the broad work she's done in the journalism space, you know. But I mean, Tshidi was a great mentor to young people. We'll know young reporters in the newsroom, the Alpha Ramshwanas of the world, were all under her tutelage. And we've seen how they've come to flower and their talents shining. Because Tshidi was not a selfish person. It was never about her. It was all about other people, empowering. I mean, you know, Nisa is kind of going down memory lane here. I remember when we had the president of the country in this very studio
With
that we're
Clement.
sitting, with Tshidi and Clement sitting across the president. And
him wondering, well, why did I sign up for
correct. And, you know, with a little bit of regret,
Yes.
of course, you know, as a humorous moment. But this is the kind of work that embodied Tshidi Madia. You know, she loved to impart knowledge to other people. John, you made a very good point earlier. She made us in South Africa understand why we should care about issues of politics, because they matter to everything else that happens in the country. And I think that will be her lasting legacy, and she will certainly be sorely missed.
You're making a great point, Zor, because she interviewed politicians, but it was never just about politicians. It was about the implications of and consequence of what they do. Nisa, I'll come to you in a moment, but we have a caller that I'd like to give a chance, and let's bring in the sense of a wider loss than just beyond us. Zwelium Charlie is calling in from Action SA, head of media and comms of that party in Gauteng. Zweli, a very good afternoon to you. Good to have you, albeit in such sad circumstances.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. I don't know if we can say it's a good afternoon. Eh?
Yeah.
I just couldn't help myself, but yeah, look, man, politicking with Tshidi Madia, one of my favorite podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Not only, I believe, is Eyewitness News and 702 team that have to suffer this loss, but I believe the South African public in general, you know, if you understood how Tshidi would take a stance when speaking to politicians, very unrelenting, quite committed to the truth and accountability, you know, and a better pursuit, or rather a pursuit of a better nation. I think it's a huge loss for South Africa, the nation at large, but specifically for the political sphere, which I operate in. And I would like to really send my heartfelt condolences to her family, her colleagues at Primedia, her friends and loved ones, and to the general political segment that we operate in. I know she, like I said, she was very unrelenting, and she created a lot of animosity,
That was her job, eh?
Absolutely.
Yes.
But I think at the end of it all, it's for those of us who truly value the truth, accountability, and service delivery for the citizens of this country. It's such a huge loss.
Zweli Mtshali, thank you for that heartfelt tribute. We will certainly pass your condolences on as they come in to, first of all, the immediate family of Tshidi Madia and, of course, the larger family of which she was so much a part. I'm getting so many WhatsApp messages, and I just want to go through a few before they become too many for me to actually catch up. I know you would want your message shared, and let me at least do my best to do a few. Annie, I'm absolutely devastated to hear the news of Tsidi's passing. She was formidable. Another perfect word, I think. She was never intimidated by anyone she interviewed. She strove always for the truth. Annie says she will be sorely missed. That's from Paulshof. Calvin joins the morning and says this from out in Ekurhuleni. My deepest sympathy and a privilege to have listened to her and her family. A great loss to this great station. I loved hearing her. Now when I heard of her passing, this is a loss that will take years to get over. May God bless 702 team, her family, and all of the listeners. As I said before, we will pass this on. Let me share this one from Lesibana. I'm deeply saddened by the passing of Tshidi. Gone too soon, I'd say. Certainly true that. Very difficult to hold back the tears. Death is indeed cruel. True again. My condolences to her family, friends, and to the 702 family. And one more from D before we return to my colleague Nisa. I'm shocked. Just a regular 702 listener hearing about Tidi for the first time on John's program. There's nothing on the internet yet. Condolences to her family and colleagues. Nisa, you were holding a thought. I hope you still have it.
I do. I have many thoughts, John. And she and I went through the elections together last year. That interview you speak of was just one element of it. For months leading up to it, Tidi and her politics team had crisscrossed this country. She produced compelling, wonderful content that spoke to, and I think that was her gift, is that she was able to reflect what South Africans were feeling, and thinking. And when I think of like the hours spent, we straight after the series that recently had been was a finalist for the Bookmark Awards, Tidi would often not take the praise very quickly. I would go and I'd say like, well done. And she's like, no, I need some time to process this. But we saw through a watermark election, hours spent at the results center. I have a video of the swearing-in ceremony. It started on the Friday and it ended on the Saturday. And I'm speaking to all of these examples because the fierce politics reporter was also the fierce editor.
Yes.
She was the person who absolutely led by example. The ship would not, nobody would be left abandoned on ship. She would stay till the end. As her friend, she gave me a run for my money. She would motivate, justify, come and pitch for things that her team needed, for stories that she wanted to do. The Oval Office and her presence there, I kept on saying to her, you are your own greatest gift.
Yes.
She was on a plane when she became viral, that video of the interview she had done. And I messaged her knowing that when she put on her phone, she would be inundated with all of these messages. And I said to her, here's a screenshot of what people are saying. You have said what so many of us felt listening and watching that. And one doesn't come across a Tshidi many times in your professional or personal life.
You don't indeed.
I do want to go back to my team. I'm sitting here because Tidi would be doing this.
Yes.
Tidi would always prioritize her role, the EWN brand, and she understood wholeheartedly the responsibility and the enormity on her shoulders. So I want to leave with this, John. She had sent me a quote recently. And in honor of my dear friend, I would like to read this quote.
Please do.
In courage and poise, she boldly stands tall. Her heart beats in rhythm, a powerful call. Amidst life's harsh trials, her light shines so bright, a beacon of hope in the darkest of nights. Matsadiso means to comfort. She has been that and so much more to all of us.
Thank you so much, Mzor. Final word from you.
Thanks, John. And I think Nisa's ended it beautifully. I think my last words for now, for today, because there'll be many more words said over a period of time, is again our extension of my condolences, Primedia's condolences to Tshidi Madia's family. They lent us the gift that was Tshidi, and now it's time to return her back. And with that, thanks, John.
Mzotlolo Georgewana, Chief Content Officer at Primedia, and Nisa Ali, Editor-in-Chief at EWN, leading what will be a period of mourning for our much-beloved and hugely admired colleague, Tshidi Madia, 702 Drive.
702.